Welcome back to the 17 News at Sunrise podcast, where we share your news on your schedule.
Working in the spirit of the Golden Empire, this is 17 News at Sunrise.
Good morning. Right now at 5, a state of emergency declared in 3 counties to our north as fires continue to spread and fire crews struggle to get ahead of the flames.
And a tragic story takes a strange twist after officials say a woman was accidentally shot by a toddler over the weekend. Witnesses say they don't think that's how it happened. This morning, the investigation continues.
And President Trump and Joe Biden prepare to go head-to-head in the first presidential debate, now just a little more than a month from Election Day. What to expect? This is Tuesday, September 29th, 2020. Good morning. It's 5 a.m. Good to have you with us. I'm Maddie Jansen.
And I'm Alex Fisher. Now to the fires burning throughout the state, and as the evacuations are still underway in Napa Valley as the glass fire continues to grow. CAL FIRE
reporting this morning it has burned more than 36,000 acres. It's 0% contained. Strike teams are struggling to save anything they can as the fire pushed by gusting winds and hot, dry conditions.
We're just trying to keep up with what's burning and trying to get ahead of it, but we just can't get ahead of it.
Really getting to be too much to bear. It's just too much.
Meantime, growth has slowed in the Creek Fire east of Fresno. It grew about 2,000 acres since yesterday, now at more than 304,000 acres burned. That makes it the largest single fire in state history. It is still at 39% containment this morning. And crews beginning to get a handle on the Bobcat Fire in the Angeles National Forest. It is at 62% containment with more than 114,000 acres burned. Since the beginning of the year, CAL FIRE has fought more than 8,000 wildfires that have scorched more than 3.7 million acres of land in total. Since the middle of August, 26 people have died and more than 7,000 homes and businesses have been destroyed. And the SQF complex fire burning just north of Kernville has grown to more than 150,000 acres. It is 54% contained.
All right, let's take a look at our forecast with Alyssa. We got lucky yesterday, not too much smoke drifting into our area. What can we expect today, Alyssa?
Hi, Maddie. Yes, exactly. We did get lucky, and even though we had winds out of the east, we saw just a little bit of a smoky haze by nighttime. And this morning, we're waking up to a little bit of that as well. The night and morning hours will be the worst for smoke, but nevertheless, it's not as thick as what we have seen on some occasions. We're watching for dense fog along the coast this morning, and a little bit of fog, and a little bit of smoky haze, I should mention, as we said here in the valley. So the air quality alert still stands. That will run all the way until those fires are extinguished. And this morning, we're not looking at those red flag warnings up north, which is good news. Down into the south of LA, looking for still a little bit of those Santa Ana winds. 69 degrees currently, 61 in Delano, 66 in Buttonwillow, 55 in Tehachapi. We're at 63 in Ridgecrest. And taking you outside this morning, visibilities are again not quite as good as yesterday morning, but still not too terrible. And by 9 a.m. we'll be at 78. Looking for 98 today, a hot one with a little bit of smoke trying to creep in and into the mountains. We'll be in the 50s this morning, mid-80s this afternoon. I'm going to talk about that smoke and the heat in your complete pinpoint forecast.
All right, thank you, Alyssa. The investigation continues after officials say a woman was accidentally shot by a toddler, but the woman's neighbors are skeptical of that conclusion.
No way, that cannot happen. That baby did not shoot that one.
The shooting happened Sunday at Springwood Court Apartments in Oildale. Deputies report a 2-year-old found a handgun in the apartment and accidentally fired it, hitting his mom's cousin. Witness reports paint a different picture. April Kolstad, the woman's neighbor, saying the woman was shot in the back of the head and that Kolstad's mother saw a man she didn't recognize run off with the gun.
Grabbed it, ran, got in his car. There was so much commotion and just left.
Sheriff's officials would only confirm the woman was shot in the upper body. KCSO says they are investigating and they've yet to find everyone they want to interview. For now, at least, they believe it was a case of improper gun storage and merely an accident. But one KCSO expert agreed that the situation was odd.
You wouldn't think that a child has strength enough to pull a trigger. I'm at a loss. I don't know how that could possibly happen.
KCSO says it has not determined what type of gun was fired, and they would not confirm whether the gun is in their custody. If you have any more information on this ongoing investigation, you're urged to call KCSO at 861-3110. And now to the coronavirus pandemic in Kern County. Just 25 new cases reported by Kern County Public Health yesterday and 0 new deaths. The total case number now stands at more than 32,000 in Kern. More than 11,000 people are recovering from the virus at home, while 98 people are being treated in local hospitals. 369 lives have been lost to this virus in Kern since the beginning of the pandemic. 28 people have died this month alone. 137 people died last month. And we're expecting another announcement later today from the state's chief public health officer, Dr. Mark Galley, about California's continued response to the virus. State numbers show more than 800,000 confirmed cases of COVID-19 in California, with more than 15,500 dead. In a previous update, Dr. Galley urged people to get flu vaccinations with worries of a possible twindemic on the horizon. And that update expected in the wake of a sobering new milestone as worldwide deaths from the coronavirus top 1 million. That number could double before an effective vaccine slows the spread. NBC's Ralph Sanchez reports from London.
The world reaching a grim milestone with 1 million deaths from the coronavirus worldwide. The U.S., unfortunately, is the nation with the largest number of deaths at 200,000. That means the U.S. is accounting for 1 in every 5 deaths worldwide, even though Americans are just 4% of the world's population. You then have Brazil with 142,000 deaths. President Jair Bolsonaro refusing to take the virus seriously, even as it's led to such a dramatic death toll in his country. Now, our understanding of the virus is improving all the time, and vaccine research is underway, but the World Health Organization is warning we may get to 2 million deaths before we get to a functioning vaccine widely distributed.
It's certainly unimaginable, but it's not impossible, because if we look at losing 1 million people in 9 months, and then we just look at the realities of getting vaccine out there in the next 9 months, it's a big task for everyone involved.
Now, those 1 million deaths are just those officially recorded as being caused by COVID-19. But we know there are lots of people who will have died from the virus without an official record being kept. And that means that we will probably never know the true toll of this pandemic. Ralph Sanchez, NBC News, London.
President Trump has announced a new rapid COVID test that he says will soon be available across the country. The test uses a small piece of cardboard, a special liquid, and a nasal swab to deliver COVID-19 results in just minutes. It also does not require the use of any machinery. Officials say it will normally be administered by a healthcare professional, but can also be self-administered with supervision. President Trump says the new test will be distributed in the upcoming weeks. And you can get a free COVID-19 test right outside our station. KGET is teaming up with the Kern County Public Health Department and the Latino COVID-19 Task Force to host another testing drive. It's happening tomorrow from 7 a.m. until 6 p.m. outside our TV station at the corner of 22nd and L Streets. Pre-registration is required, but a limited amount of walk-ups will be accepted. Once again, we want to thank the Kern Community College District for the use of their parking lot. And if you'd like to register for a test, go to doineedacovid19test.com. And beyond our Compassion Corner test site, there are 9 places throughout the county that you can go to get tested. And you can schedule an appointment by just calling 211. Or you can go to kerncounty.com. And you can also make an account on the website doineedacovid19test.com to find a test site and schedule one. And if you've already signed up for a COVID test on that website before, it is even easier to make an appointment for another one or see your results from previous tests.
5:11 is your time now. The St. Vincent de Paul Homeless Center says its annual barbecue is still on with some changes. It's happening Thursday with just a few adjustments. The Homeless Center has had a barbecue every year since 2013, but with the pandemic, they're pushing forward as a drive-through barbecue. St. Vincent's Lisa Kimball says it's such an important fundraiser for them, they can't afford to lose it.
This really keeps our doors open and keeps things running over at St. Vincent de Paul, where we serve upwards of 200 men, women, and children right now during the pandemic, 2 SAC meals a day and other services as well. So for us, not having it would have just been unimaginable.
The menu hasn't changed. You can pick up teriyaki chicken or a New York steak with all the traditional trimmings. Tickets are $30, but you do have to buy a ticket in advance. The barbecue is Thursday, 5 to 7 p.m. You can buy tickets at the Homeless Center in person or call them at 323-2941. You can also go to their website as well. Back here at 521 with sports, 3 trailblazing women teaming up to make NFL history for the first time. There were 3 women on the field at an NFL game at yesterday's Cleveland Browns matchup against Washington. Both teams shared this image they took together before kickoff. That's Washington coaching intern Jennifer King on the left, veteran official Sarah Thomas in the middle, and Browns coach Kevin Stefanowski's trusted chief of staff Callie Brownson on the right. The Browns celebrated the historic occasion, which is the first time both teams have featured a female coach along with a woman official in the same game.
Well, this morning it begins. Major League Baseball starts its month-long postseason, and here's a look at the official bracket. 16 teams are in the race to win it all. This year, because of a condensed 60-game season, more teams have been allowed into the postseason. The wild card games begin this morning, and up first, it's the American League, with the Houston Astros facing off with the Minnesota Twins at 11 a.m. Then tomorrow, the National League will begin its journey. 3 California teams are in the postseason this year: the Oakland A's, San Diego Padres, and the Los Angeles Dodgers. The Dodgers have the best record in baseball and a favorite to win the World Series.
KGET Business Watch is brought to you by Grapevine MSP Technology Services, the Valley's leading IT service provider.
525 now. Cream of Wheat will change its image over concerns its packaging is racially insensitive. Parent company B&G Foods is removing the image of an African-American chef from the box, with B&G saying in part, while research indicates the image may be based upon an actual Chicago chef named Frank White, it reminds some consumers of earlier depictions they find offensive. New packaging is expected to roll out in the first quarter of next year. 'Tis the season to be shopping, or so retailers hope. Slick ad campaigns with deep discounts are rolling out, hoping to kickstart consumer buying after a summer full of financial struggles. NBC's Dan Sheneman has the details.
Halloween is still weeks away, but lurking in the corner are retailers ready to push out holiday sales earlier than ever.
We know that holiday shopping is going to look a lot different this year.
Stores usually roll out enticing pricing in November, but are desperate to kickstart the season and get people out buying early, in-store or online.
Yeah, we expect e-commerce to be up 25 to 35% year over year, which is an incredible increase.
Deloitte says 75% of consumers plan on shopping exclusively online this season, with a whopping 90% saying they will avoid traditional in-store doorbusters this year.
A lot of it is about convenience, a lot of it is about safety.
Regardless of where they are shopping, people will be spending. Retail Me Not Sarah Skirball says families are planning on dishing out almost $550 this year.
66% of parents and families are planning on spending about the same amount of money as last year.
Because of the pandemic, the gifting of experiences will turn to more tangible items.
Things that people and families and kids and parents can do at home.
And buyers be warned, most big retailers are closing their doors on Thanksgiving.
You do a little research online before you plan on going out on Thanksgiving and even those super early mornings for Black Friday. It just might not exist.
Experts say if you are shopping online, do it early. The extra demand may increase shipping times. Dan Sheneman, NBC News.
17 News is your local election headquarters. If you've been waiting to see President Trump go head-to-head with Joe Biden, tonight's the night. The first presidential debate is happening this evening in Cleveland. Tracy Potts is in Washington with a preview of what we can expect.
Hi, Maddie. Good morning, everyone. We could see some fireworks tonight. Joe Biden says he's expecting them, looking for personal attacks from the president. The president says he's actually not doing a lot of debate prep at all.
Here's the stage hosting the first face-off between President Trump and Democratic presidential nominee Joe Biden.
I am looking very forward to the debate.
But unlike Biden, the president says he's not drilling down on policies or thick briefing books. His practice for this debate largely here. being quizzed by reporters in the White House briefing room. Biden says he's doing his research here, reviewing the president's tweets.
I'm prepared to go out and make my case as to why I think he's failed.
Failed businesses, a decade of zero taxes, and years of mounting debt reported by the New York Times are sure to come up as President Trump takes the stage.
It's a national security issue. You could potentially have a sitting president who owes hundreds of millions of dollars. The American people are going to want to know who he owes that money to.
Both candidates trying to predict each other's strategy.
He's always very different when he comes out. So I have no idea what's coming out.
My guess is it's going to be just straight attack. They're going to be mostly personal. That's the only thing he knows how to do.
They'll be asked about their records, the Supreme Court, including the president's new nominee, coronavirus, the economy, race and urban violence, and the integrity of this election.
This debate moderated by Fox News. It's happening tonight at 9 p.m. in Cleveland. I'm Tracy Potts, 17 News.
And of course, you can watch the debate right here on TV 17. We will have an abbreviated version of 17 News at 5. Then at 5:30, NBC Nightly News will begin with analysis. The first presidential debate begins at 6 tonight.
The Secretary of Commerce says the United States Census will end next Monday despite a federal court order. Last week, a federal judge in San Jose ruled the census must continue through the end of October. But yesterday, Secretary Wilbur Ross said on October 5th, people will no longer be able to self-respond to the questionnaire. And census takers will not be going door to door for people who have not answered yet. Originally, the head count was supposed to end tomorrow, about a month earlier than scheduled.
17 Crime Watch this morning. A man was arrested in connection with an apparent road rage shooting on Highway 58. The suspect was arrested at the Chevron gas station near Murray Family Farms on General Beale Road, just off the 58. The victim told deputies he was driving on the 58 near Tehachapi Willow Springs Road when another driver pointed a handgun at him and fired once, hitting his vehicle. Deputies found the vehicle here and arrested 39-year-old Eddie Jarrell Perez on assault and gun charges. A woman and child in the car with him were released. If you have any information about the shooting, call KCSO at 861-3110. A local ag grower has a waste disposal problem, and they're offering a huge financial incentive to the person who comes up with the best solution. The Wonderful Company is known for its pistachios, mandarin oranges, and pomegranates, and they're asking people to come up with an economic and environmentally friendly way to use the 50,000 tons of pomegranate husks left over after the juicing process. They're offering $1 million in funding and development resources for whoever comes up with the best idea. You can register as an individual, a team, or a business. The deadline to get your application in is December 7th. You can find more information at wonderfulinnovation.com. The new Huckleberries on Mount Vernon Avenue is opening soon, and they're hiring. The restaurant held a job fair yesterday, and they'll have another one today from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. Huckleberries is a chain of diners that serves breakfast and lunch, describing its style as Southern cooking with a California twist. The one in Bakersfield's opening on Mount Vernon Avenue near the Albertsons.
In education news this morning, the Kernville Union School District is bringing kids back into the classroom. The district sent an email out to teachers yesterday informing them it received approval for a waiver from the Public Health Department, allowing them to reopen elementary schools. According to that email, transitional kindergarten, and first grade students will return first for half days starting on Monday. Parents uncomfortable with in-class learning can continue to have their students distance learn. The district said it will make an announcement for grades 2 through 8 later this week. Bakersfield College continues its Distinguished Speaker Series today, and today's speaker is Victor Davis Hanson. The Martin and Illie Anderson Senior Fellows at Stanford University's Hoover Institution and professor at Fresno State. Hanson is known for his research on military history and literacy classics. He's also written more than 24 books on ancient and modern history. The virtual event is happening at 10:30 this morning. To register, just head to bakersfieldcollege.edu/studentlife.
As we approach month 7 of coronavirus pandemic here in Kern County, it's important to never forget the everyday heroes in the healthcare field. One of these heroic healthcare workers is 82-year-old Mary Stanley, a retired nurse who's still helping new mothers nurture the Golden Empire's next generation. 17's Taylor Schaub joins us live this morning with that story. Taylor?
Well, good morning, Maddie. For 6 decades, Mary Sandley's made a name for herself here in Kern County in the healthcare industry. Some people would call her a baby whisperer. Others may call her a mother to all new mothers. But almost everybody would agree she personifies what it means to be a nurse.
It was the most heartwarming experience.
Mary Stanley couldn't believe it.
I was just absolutely astounded that I was the actual winner of that award at that moment.
At the age of 82, she was being honored by her colleagues with a Lifetime Achievement Award for her revolutionary work in childbirth education, a role this retired nurse refuses to give up.
It was hard for me when somebody said, "Are you retired?" I just couldn't even say, "Yes, I'm retired." The tears would well, and I would just say, I'm retired from clinical practice, but I'm not ever going to retire from mothers and babies.
At a time when many her age are enjoying their golden years, Stanley's helping mothers 60 years younger than herself adjust to parenting in a pandemic.
I don't know how many more 82-year-olds are out there still working.
Now trading that youthful energy of decades past for the decades-old institutional knowledge she possesses.
I am finding at this particular time that age, longevity, experience, those are now assets instead of liability.
Yvonne Chambers is the event chair and was Stanley's supervisor for more than 15 years at Mercy Southwest.
She's the epitome of compassion. It is a calling for her, not a profession.
She had the pleasure of presenting Stanley with the award, providing a personal touch to an otherwise virtual event.
Right as they were announcing it, while she was watching, I knocked on the door and presented her with her award. So that was pretty special for her and for me.
A moment the pair won't soon forget, and yet another reason for Stanley to never give up her passion.
And for as long as I am walking the planet, I hope to be able to assist mothers and babies when they need it.
Yes, Maddie, Alex, she's still working during the pandemic. It's really remarkable. She's even taking calls on Zoom with new mothers and just assisting them in the process, as this is a challenging time for anybody that's having a baby. Reporting live, Taylor Schaub, 17 News.
Welcome back to your 17 Health Watch. A new research suggests long-term use of acid reflux drugs may increase the risk of type 2 diabetes. The Chinese study included data from more than 200,000 adults. It showed those who regularly use proton pump inhibitors were 24% more likely to develop type 2 diabetes. Users of H2 blockers were also at risk. Experts say people taking heartburn drugs for 2 or more years should get regular blood glucose checkups. New research sheds light on how diet and medications affect the risk of colon cancer. A review of 80 studies found higher intake of magnesium and fiber reduced the risk. Eating dairy products was also beneficial, although how much was unclear. There was no evidence that garlic, onions, coffee, or fish had a protective effect, and most studies found higher consumption of meat and alcohol increased colon cancer risk.
Working in the spirit of the Golden Empire, this is 17 News at Sunrise.
The 17 News at Sunrise podcast is a production of KGET and Nexstar Media Group. For more on all of the headlines in today's show, head to kget.com.